I'm going to use what you said as a segue into, you talked about brawls, and that's a perfect segue because we are breaking down the top 5 brawls in the UFC. That is our top brawls, not letting it all hang out, which was something different.
I thought you said something else. I was like,
I'm using Kenny's segue. Kenny's segue here. Kenny, you're first.
All right, here we go. Number 5, Henderson Shogun 2. This was a war, guys. I mean, Shogun was doing an amazing job, but then it was that right hand, that pesky right hand from Dan Henderson. Michael Bisping, I think you know that. Now look at this fight. Number 4, Melendez-Sanchez. What do you know? This was an absolute war. Certainly one of the best brawls that I've seen for sure. And look what I have at number 3, Henderson Shogun 1. This one was like a TV fight. It was one of those fights you see in the movies and you say, this would never happen. Well, guess what? It does happen, and it happens in the UFC, and it happened with Henderson and Shogun. Just a back and forth war that I thoroughly enjoyed. Both men really had their moments in that fight. Now, the greatest heavyweight fight I have ever seen, maybe the best fight of all time, is Hunt and Bigfoot. These guys put on an absolute show. They knocked each other down several times throughout the fight. So many momentum shifts throughout this fight, but this is the number 1. I know it's maybe not the most original one, but this is my number 1. This is the fight that really put the sport on the map. Both these guys really put themselves out there and suffered throughout 3 rounds, and it was for the Ultimate Fighter finale and for the title to be called the Ultimate Fighter, and just a classic fight. Couldn't have come at a better time.
For originality on your number 1.
Oh, come on, Michael Bisping.
Nobody ever references that fight when they say top fight in the UFC.
But it is.
My 5-year-old son suggested that fight. Now, if you want a top 5
all right.
somebody
Let's see your list.
Let's see what you got there, Mr. Bisping.
It's time to think outside the box. Right, number 5, we've got Leonard Garcia versus the Korean Zombie. Now, this fight was back and forth the whole way through, up and down on the floor, on the feet, you name it, they did it all. And to top it off, they're lighter guys as well, so the speed that they operate makes it a lot of fun. It's like watching, Mark Hunt in Fast Forward. Okay, moving on to number 4, and it's funny, you had this fight at number 4 as well, even though Joe Rogan said it was the number 1 fight of all time. We both had it at number 4, but it has to be in there. At number 4, it is Sanchez and Gilbert Melendez. Number 3, obscure one, Paul Kelly and Paul Taylor. These two went out there and they stood toe-to-toe. Look at this, back and forth. They didn't move. It's like the fight was in a phone box and they just slugged it out. It was an incredible fight.
That was an incredible fight.
An incredible fight. Thank you, Michael, for bringing that one up. You really are fantastic at this. Number 2, Chuck Liddell, Wanderlei Silva. This was so awesome because it was such an epic fight because, Wanderlei just came over from Pride. Chuck was recently the champion, so it was almost Pride versus UFC. And, of course, number 1, I was there ringside. Nice. Mark Hunt, Bigfoot. Everybody in the arena couldn't believe it. You enjoyed it on TV. Yes. Let me tell you, to be there live in the arena was something else. It was an incredible fight, and thank you to both of those guys for putting on such an amazing display of warrior showmanship.
I think I lost my voice after that fight. I was going bananas. Lost it. Bananas. Bananas.
All right, well, we want to give little props to Brendan Dent. He came up with a suggestion, so we love it. Hey, you guys, keep on sending them to us, okay? Because we break it down on the show. Okay, coming up next is our social media segment, Rapid Fire. You guys send in your questions, see if they get answered. Ken Flo and the Count will be breaking it down next. Stay tuned.
We might.
Yes, we will.
We may not.